Hey there, Libra. This is Joy with Joy to the World, and I'm here to bring you your reading. Tuning in beforehand, I was kind of disturbed by the energy that you guys are going through and many of you are experiencing. It's kind of like it's twofold, like an envelope, like part of y'all are going through the difficult part of the flap. Other ones, you're like the body of the envelope. You've been through this and you'll recognize some of these things when I begin to bring them up. And it'll be good for you to continue to listen because there'll be deep information in here and it will be reinforcement of your intuition and what you know and what you've been seeing and gathering and collecting in your decision-making process. So really, like I pulled these runes. I kind of get some energy ahead of time. Let me straighten them up. Okay. And they really talk about, well, this first one, I'm going to read from one quote from the book because I think they put it very precisely in a way that makes sense. And in here it says, the ability to foresee consequences before you act is a mark of the profound person. Now what I found is, it's like some of y'all, your souls are wrestling and it could wrestle for till you're 40 years old, 45, and I'm just not down with that. If it were the course of action and the way it's supposed to be, yes. But if it hinders progress and it's very expensive in a sense that it's wasteful of your heart, your energy, your time, and that learning curve is unnecessary, I look forward to creating kind of that loophole, that wormhole that can bring you through and out like a trajectory. It somehow it launches you forward, thrusts you forward. Because it's almost like in the search of justice, you do yourself an injustice. And that doesn't sit right with my heart because no one should have to lose in order for others to win. No, in games, that's fine because we pit one side against another. But Libra being the scale, it's almost as if you're pitting yourself against yourself. Okay, as if you have to pay a price in order to gain wisdom. Now, when I sat with that and realized what you were struggling with, what the battle was, the wisdom, the word of knowledge I got was really being able to flow with life and enjoy the experience. For you guys, life is to be tasted, touched, felt, smelt, that type of thing, experienced. And through experiences, wisdom is layered in and built. What I feel strongly that should be sought as opposed to that, it's like a deviant form of wisdom. That's why I don't like it. It's bothering me that you're being shortchanged like that, and it's coming in professing itself as if it's a truth, but it's partial, therefore it's not truth, right? Okay, it's altered. So the thing to seek is words of knowledge, to trust your mental insight. But that so much of it is through the process of experiencing life. Think of how many of our senses are contained right here, okay? And the Libra and y'all being the scale, being the body, as you enjoy those experiences, it's like it sets calibrations, like it's putting in information. I have this Stargazer app that when you first open it, they tell you to circle your phone all around like this, and it will calibrate and pick up where the stars and planets are in order to set a standard, okay? And a scale does need a standard in order to measure things properly. But it's as if like this rigidity, kind of like the logic side is fighting in the black and white, is fighting the organicness of kind of the simplicity and beauty of your nature. Trusting the scale, trusting your centeredness, trusting yourself, okay? So my encouragement would to be experience life. Don't push it. That was a caveat. That was the warning. It is like you guys are pushing your luck. Now I'm talking to myself. Hello. Say hey to myself. Hey Joy, talking to you too, because I have some extremely strong placements in Libra. Pluto is one. So talk about some death and resurrection and pushing limits. When Pluto's there, it's kind of enforced upon me. So maybe that's why I'm a good source to provide some reflection, like some road signs along your journey. I know I have your advice, but I do have like some road signs, kind of some GPS to help y'all out along this. But the caveat and the warning is pushing your luck. Y'all are pushing and pushing and pushing your luck, and it's almost like trying to find the fullness of the scale instead of realizing the calibration happens in the median zone. And that's not staying status quo or boring or anything like that. It really brings in its own energetic force along with it, which is part of what y'all are seeking, that dynamic that lives beyond yourself, something to put that element of surprise and intrigue in there, that kind of that spice that you need. And so don't push your Jupiter. That's where your prosperity is. Allow yourself to prosper. You don't have to be your own undoing or do yourself in order to gain wisdom for the greater good. That is not the light that you guys bring. You bring the celebration, the balance to diving right in instead of going to the extremes. That's where you can wear yourself out and draw in energies or people or circumstances or long ones, often way too long. How many times have you stayed way too long, and when you're done, you're exhausted, and that person, that job, that whatever moves on, happy as a lark, happy and free? Okay? That's what we're talking about. And it's not about those people or those places or those things. We're bringing it right back to you guys, okay? Bringing it back to center and helping guide and facilitate your enjoyment in this life, for your radiance, your light to shine forth and to be your beautiful self, so that we can all benefit from the facet, the piece of the pie of the zodiac that you guys bring to us. So with that being said, you had requested of me to show you the surface, and like surface, only surface. Now there's a portion of you, remember, the body of the envelope, that you've been through that, and I can't say it's relatively few, but it is a smaller than a half portion of Librans who earlier on, prior to 40, have come into balance, like often through a mate or through a family member or a trusted loved one who they felt like they were really heard by and really helped ground them in a way that's not stifling or binding, right? And so you know what those energies are like that we were talking about. And so y'all are calling in for the deeper layer. And I agree with you both. Yes, we will go into the surface, but we will not just keep it there, because those of you who've been putting yourself at a disadvantage or going through that injustice, that payment, that unnecessary payment for something that's already been paid for to gain wisdom. It's really gain the experience. And through there, we're going to give the surface layout here. But we're going to give the deeper undercurrent of what's going on in there, because that's where you dupe yourself. That's where you've been undermining and kind of causing a rip current. I live by the ocean, and that sucker will take you out. And you cannot fight it by coming back in. You have to carry yourself a long ways down before you can even return inward. So that's a very good picture of what's been going on. So let's go ahead and step into that now. Let's step into that energy of thinking and that way of being, almost as if your scale isn't just here of this type of balance. It's an above and a below type balance. Trusting your gut, trusting your mind, knowing that what is good for you is good for others as well. And that way you're not stuck between the extremes of somebody doing you in and then you doing somebody in. Because I know that doesn't sit right with your character, and it causes a lot of emotional accusation in there, like from guilt or shame or stress, okay? So I'm here to vote for you guys. I'm here to see your big, delicious, beautiful life. And so let's go in. We're going to go with these guys. These are beautiful. She's a fun little lady. And they're pretty straightforward. So I've already shuffled everything. I intuitively shuffle, and I do it off camera so that we don't have to hear the noise, and also the time, because I can be called into using mini decks as like crayons, like layers of color in a piece of artwork. So y'all asked me to pull off the top, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Okay. One more. All right. That's a lot, y'all. I love you. Okay. And the highlight card here is things are as exactly as they seem. And that's where that mindset is. If you were believing that half-truth was a whole truth, that's throwing your scale off, and it's putting you at that disadvantage. So we're going to look at the surface here so that we can get both sides of the coin. Just a little side note, I remember when I was getting groceries one time, and I handed them a 20. Yes, I still pay cash. I handed them a 20, and the lady highlighted, to check for its validity, she highlighted both sides. And one side was real, and the other side was fake. And I said, who would go to that energy, and why would that be so if both sides said 20? It's not like one said 5 and the other said 20, and it's that they weren't registering the same on both sides. All right, so here we want to get it on the same page. Okay, so in the past energy, and this is like, I'm seeing like 3 years. Okay, I'm seeing that it's been a season, not just a cycle. It's been a season. We have got the 5 of Swords going on. Okay, and the look on the face says it all. Can you see the imbalance going on there? This disgruntledness. It's kind of like doing yourself a disservice instead of doing yourself a favor. It's like it's a commingling of the two energies where there's beauty. It's like it kind of the Eeyore, it brings in the dark clouds, and that's where I talked about that emotional distress that you cause yourself from previous circumstances, and it's causing, not like you're doing it intentionally, it's that misinformation, that half-truth that is causing the scale to already be out of balance. Okay, and so here you have some beauty, some potential, some things going on, but there's like overgrowth, there's indecision because there's not clarity. Some of it is especially in the areas where maybe growing up you didn't see that mentored or modeled for you, and so it's areas of ambiguity, and that's frustrating, and it's proving to bring out an overprotective mechanism. Okay, and I see you walled off because of it, and that reduces the experience, the sensory pleasure of life and living. All right, so in the present, what we see is the 6 of Pentacles. I mean, every day you do want to wake up and make that fresh start. You are wanting to be like, la la la, today's going to be a great day. And then it's almost an inch by inch, minute by minute, you creep in, and it's like being closed in on, kind of like the trash compactor in Star Wars. It's just the walls are coming in on you, and it can feel restrictive. And that's not an energy that works well for your sign. It's like spiritually claustrophobic, okay? And that produces that undue stress, which then the mind doesn't think as clearly. But here, I would like to think that this good news, this like unearthing of whole truth that's coming to you, and my heart being for you and getting in agreement with celebrating the beauty that you guys bring, that you'll be like, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. I love it. See, that basket is full, and there's plenty to share, to go around, because you guys like to experience life with others. That's obvious. But here, it's not just coins, it's not just money, and like, I would say tangible rewards, but it's also having solved some things, some forms, some like 5 of Wands energy is in here also. No longer having that struggle and that internal conflict and that battle, but going, I know how to solve this. Do. There it is. Do. There it is. That's one neat thing about y'all operating in whole truth is you're masters of solving things right away, especially for others. But now also I give you permission to solve it for you. We want each of us to have our own power for ourselves as well as for others, that our life and the whole world stays in balance. And that's when the beauty and the radiance shines forth. That's when you have the provision and the protection without having to be guarded or deal with wasteful energies, okay? So, and I love it because it's an armadillo and he's wide open. See, there's no intimidation, there's no fear, there's no need to be overprotective because life has your back. All right? So that's in the present. Yay for that. Okay. And now in the coming up future energy, here, give me just a second because I am pretty sure the truth. Yeah. Okay. This is interesting, and don't be flipped out by the card because when I checked it, it reiterated itself. You see the Ten of Swords there? Okay. This was like a trickster and a swindler. This is not you, and it's not because I'm building ego. It's literally as if the end of the swindling is done. You see that hand is cut off? In ancient times, they often cut off the hand of a thief, right? So that they couldn't continue the way that they were doing. But it also like narrowed in the life of that person, that being that was doing such things. Because it's usually your most tactile hand. And not only did that happen, and I believe that's happening now, is we're the sham is up, right? We calling it what it is. That here you were able to see it, because this is like a master of disguise, and it has had you for so long. I don't know if any of you have seen Monsters Inc., but there's a scene that is pivotal in my life, and it's where Mike and Sully have come back from banishment in Nepal, I believe, and Sully is being strangled by Randall. And as big and as amazing and powerful as he is, someone who's very astute and trained in his ways, Randall's like this guy, like a swindler, like a trickster, like a cheat, out for himself, and he'll do anything in order to maintain his unscrupulous ways. And this isn't just a person here, this is an energy also, which means it can change people as you keep going through life, which is why I wanted to snuff it out here. I wanted you to start living and put an end to this. So it's awesome. I didn't look ahead, y'all, and I see it here, and I'm like, okay, we're celebrating, and I'm like having the cheerleader spirit fingers moment going on. But it was his undoing, because Sully couldn't see, and he couldn't see where to land his punches to take out his enemy, okay? And Randall wasn't only his enemy. They had uncovered the scheme that was going on, and Randall was the enemy of the children as well. He was the enemy of the happiness, of the laughter, of the true power, okay? And Mike shows up, and Mike hurls this snow cone. He hurls the snow cone at Sully because he thinks Sully's not listening and like acting out. And bam, it hits. And Randall, who was chameleon-like, was clear and couldn't be seen, it hits, and Sully could catch sight of his form. And he punched him and pulled him down and like snuffed him out. Now, he didn't take him dead dog dead here, but in a sense, he cut that hand off at that moment. But the point is, we're exposing the swindler so that you can see it, and you can exact your aim, all right? All that shame, that guilt, that frustration, that pain, the loss, some of it's genuine financial loss. I mean, that is why a lot of the coins showed up here, but not just money, but also ideas and dreams being revived. But that you can take the sucker out, and like that's almost present perfect future. It's like coming on in right now. And the neat thing about the way life works with me and energy works with me is when we often unearth it, it's already being done. Life is this powerful force that wants to facilitate all the beauty and all the goodness and all the naturalness of how it goes. And it just took getting down to see it for what it is. And so I love that this is already going on for you guys. Allow that to come on in, allow this union to work, allow the changes and the transformation to come. It's almost kind of like, whoa, I don't know if I'm comfortable with being this awesome, with things working this well. But I would encourage you to give it a little time and give yourself permission to allow those horrible feelings to be dislodged from you. They're not your responsibility to carry. They're not your burdens anymore, okay? And they're definitely not your mindset, all right? Because you guys look for justice. You look for balance, and that's what you're seeking, is connection with others. So, and then what I see is like some action or some energy really that is coming along. assisting with this and really processing this, what's the Hierophant? I'm sorry, let me play with that shadow for a second. Let's see if I can bring it in better. Okay, and see, he's upholding the star. And just like over here, remember how I said the star? We've got the stars, those pinnacles. See, these other coins are more like the money, but when I see the stars, those pinnacles, I see things manifesting and taking form. It's almost like, it's like beyond the laws of attraction, manifestation. It's like when it takes form and you see it and you know it, you're very clear, and therefore the path is shortened. I mean, and it's easy. It's like the way you land your target is you only focus on the bullseye if that's what you want to hit. Don't look at the whole target. Look at the bullseye and keep your eye on it as you draw your aim and release. Well, that's a bit of what the Hierophant's doing here. And it's balancing what you see with what you say, okay? And that's the real wisdom going on here. Wow, whoa, ho. That's the trays of your scale, what you see and what you say. Especially what you say about yourself, and some internal speak as well, not just the external. And be real simple with your words. So these are like supernatural forces coming along, and it's these mindsets, it's these energies collecting along with you. But you have star power coming along, and that's like our origin, our dust. It's like the particles of what we're made of and where we're coming from. And it's defeating these low-lying energies that I see around you in the card here. It's things that have been there since childhood, which is like what I said, that defense mechanism coming up here. It was almost things that weren't mentored or modeled for you. And so you're just kind of taking a stab in the dark of how do we do this? How do I navigate this? But this has come along to set it right. And I love it. It's the number 5, which to me is to manipulate, to move about with the mind, just like here, so that you could take your aim at what's been taking you down. But it's not the deceiver manipulation. It's not like that. It's the power and the authority to be able to change your life, to be able to harness what you feel, to, you know, when you bake the pie, to share the pieces with all of your friends, but to take it in yourself and enjoy your own piece, to enjoy your own reward of your efforts and your consciousness and your vitality. So anyways, that's a lot of words. I'm gonna try and get trucking here, but this is some big stuff. Often I deal with like big energies, and that's why it could take a while. But I'm not here to tell you, decide this, so-and-so saying this, so-and-so saying that. We're really looking into you, so that if we get you straight, like if you balance the wheels on your car, you're gonna get where you're going. It's getting things, everything in line so it moves smoothly, all right? And again, they're already shuffled, and so we're moving from the top to see what the deeper energies are. Interesting. Okay, and we got the Lady of Swords on the bottom. And I see it working the mind, because here in a sense her eyes are shut. And there's a lot of passion, a lot of energy rising up in you guys as you're hearing some of this. I pray that there be temperance in that balance in that, so that it becomes affirmative action. Okay? I forgot to look at the bottom here. Let's see what's here. Oh, looky. We got the Ace of Cups. We got you filling up. All right, so under the 5 of Swords, we have the 3 of Wands. Okay? Take a look there. So you've got this couple right down here under this great, like, authority figure, keeper of the forest in a sense. And here, it's what I see going on. Again, the arms are extended, kind of like the scales, right? The balance and the justice. And what I see, the action going on here is there's a lot of rocks in the foreground, like a lot to navigate and traverse. And because of the artwork, we think, well, that's no big deal. I can see what's going on there. But we have to realize this is nighttime. And in the dark, in the night, in that shade, right, which is like what y'all are telling me, the black and white, the scale, making it all gray and putting yourself at a disadvantage. We want your life to come to color and to be vibrant and to be whole. That in that you can take the advantage of gifts of knowledge, of experiencing life and tasting the flavor, the colors of the rainbow. So here, it's like this higher perspective comes along to navigate you through those things with ease and with grace, so that you don't stub your toe, you don't trip and fall. And it facilitates easier bonding and connection in your intimate relationships, and not just your lover, but like intimate friendships, trusted, trustworthy, reliable, sacred, honoring, faithful friendships, faithful relationships, that type of thing. And this, in a sense, it's like tapping into your ancient wisdom, because the scarab beetle is in here, and it's understanding signs and symbols too. So restoring some of your connection to nature, where you may not have seen these things modeled for you. Nature is there for you, and will begin to show you things and tap into that gift of knowledge, to where something just, you see it and it grabs hold and you instantly know what it means. And to store that away, and as the pieces gather up and come about, then your spirit will drive you to whatever decision you need in regards to that information. Okay? So under the Six of Pentacles in the present, looky look, remember that little guy, his armor's back's protected? We have got the Lovers, and this is an interesting card. Okay. So we have the moon, and we have the energy of the moon, and allowing the feelings to flow. I have to put the word effortlessly in there, even though that's what flow means here, because it's flowing over the mountains. But even in the mountains, there is movement. There is almost like glacial flow. It has a gradual movement. Even something that seems so staid and immovable is changing with time. And so allowing the feelings to flow and mature with time, that they don't become points of contention, that the relationship, with yourself as well, specifically I'm hearing here with yourself as well, to allow your philosophies to adapt and change over time, but allow that intuition, those signs, those symbols, that sort of thing to come in and collect. And over time, you're going to build the wisdom that you need, but through the enjoyment and pleasure of the senses, right? We can see there's a field of flowers here, and we can see this lush landscape in the background. And it's like it contains all things. But there's space for you. I want you to know that. And also I see just come up out of the grave, out of the depths. This is for you who are already the body of the envelope, but also those who've been the flap and you're just stepping into that layer, as you don't have to be sunk down and submerged and weighted down under these anymore. That there is that trinity of energies of your body, mind, and your soul working together and affirming and confirming one another. Okay? And just remember, that's under where we got you back. Okay? So under the Ten of Swords, we have got the Lady of Pentacles. And I used to call her the booby doll, because in ancient civilizations, that's how they display fertility, is these over-exaggerated features of the woman. And it's interesting. Give me a second here. Okay. Those of you who do look at your charts, and I mean look at the picture, not at all the words that come with it, there's one that can give the 4 points that go, or just map it out, that go from your midheaven and it makes a perfect square, to begin to balance yourself. And strangely enough, where that happens in 2 of them, I hardly have anything going on in those houses or those signs, but in the other 2 I have a lot. Well, actually in 3 of them I don't have much, and in 1 I have a lot. But I listen to teachings or readings on those signs because it relates to me quite a bit. Yeah. And so I'm sorry I can't tell you what those 4 points are, but you could look up the 4 points of my charts that go with the midheaven, and the midheaven's one of them. But I definitely see that here because it's going to provide some of the knowledge and your development of yourself and the beauty and the fruit and the pleasure that comes from yourself, so that you have that rooted and grounded self-worth, and it doesn't shift on you. Like, you can enjoy the movement of life but never feel like you're being pushed off of your grounding or your boundaries or your turf, your territory, right? Without having to be defensive. And it contains the balance of life. It contains, in here we see the sun and the moon down here at the bottom, and that's in the midst of the waters. And I just see all 4 elements here, okay? And it's coming through the passage of time. It's like the scarab over here. It's giving you access to some ancient wisdom. All right, so in a sense, it's giving you an advantage, not against others, but for yourself, okay? So we'll move into like what is directing this and working with this, where up above we have the Hierophant working on the surface. Beneath we have the 6 of Pentacles working beneath the surface, okay? And so here it's really communing with your spirit, being able to go between worlds, to go between layers, it's almost like moving the balance of justice, moving the scale, but not that cheating moving of the scale like the dial, like the 0 of the weight scale. It's being able to make progress in your own life, okay? To be able to restore the land that you had cut off. To not just cause yourself to flourish, but your family line to flourish. And what's unique is that can bleed back into like the family that you came from, not just those that you were going to. And don't get disturbed. If you don't want anything to do with the family that you came from, this isn't for you. It's for those who have been actively seeking that restoration there, of some great miracle or some great force to come about and to make things right. And first it'll make it right in you, and then it's going to flow forward into those that you touch, whether it's children that you birth or whether it's the people in your environment that you interact with, and in love and friendship and in community daily. But yeah, it had been charred to ash and dust, and you have been cut down. But here you are, just, it's like robed in righteousness, and don't take that the wrong way. That's really coming from this. Like what you say and what you see getting on the same page, that's really right living, righteousness. And remember, I talked about being right and not right versus wrong, but you being you. And everything's here and relaxed and looking towards one another. The self that has been ancient and going through the layers is looking ahead for you, looking out for you, okay, so that you can take time to commune with your spirit. And again, there is the progress of the mountains, of that gradual movement of something that seemed impossible or immovable. But here I specifically see the environment coming together for you, making way for you, that there is energy. Whoa, oh yeah, okay, we're hitting on it there. You have energy and assistance also, not just guides and spirit, but they're energetic forces, like gravity is a law and a principle. That's what I mean about energy. It's things that were created to work with us, because we're all manifestors in that sense. So I hope this is clear for you. We're going to pull out, we're going to pull 2 animal oracles here. We got the badger and the hyena. Give me a second to look at these. Okay. Yeah, we have Neptune showing up in the hyena. So we have kind of that watery cognition, that ability to know, the assistance of ancient wisdom coming up to help confirm that. And that helps you feel secure and loved. It's very important for Librans to feel loved and secure and honored and respected. But I keep hearing look to the mountains. Sorry. My screen. Hang on just a second. Sorry. Look to the mountains. Okay. So in that, I would encourage you to look to what seems impossible in your life and begin to see it move. Begin in your mind through like putting form and focus to what you want, like as you do and you begin to put it together, instead of looking at it thinking it's impossible, look at it and think, how is this possible? And it'll begin to take form, and you'll have clarity about what it is that you're seeing that you desire about that. So look to the mountains. And that's really going to cause your heart to start to sing, because you like the challenge of achievement. Okay? So that really dynamic energy y'all used to take to like try and dive into wisdom and balance the injustice, and in turn did injustice to yourself, that same intensity that causes you guys to thrive will instead be put to yourself here, looking to the things in front of you that seem impossible. And just through balancing your spirit and your energy and working with ancient energies and some wisdom of the ancient energies, okay, and playing with your environment of enjoying everyday life, the magic starts to happen. And it says, dare to be different, all right? Dare to be you, and just know that that draws people to you, because it is important for you guys to be loved and have bonding with other human beings and connection. So that is contained in this card, all right? And then we have the badger. Bring your life into balance. Isn't that cute? So I see in this there is a gateway. And it's coming from beneath the surface of the earth, but not the depths. It really has to do with connection. And for some of you, it's like connections with friends across land or time or the world. And I don't just see Facebook and internet. Yes, that is there because it's like telepathic light, that kind of communication. But for some of you, travel is indicated. And yeah, some of you travel is indicated. With others, it's just reaching out and reconnecting with certain people as you begin to feel just clean and clear and really settled into this gentle, beautiful, like radiant life of who you are. And that will just begin to foster a further bond with yourself, okay? It's like giving yourself permission to flourish and thrive through the relationships that you've already had. Okay. So we'll just put those right there. And let me see, is there anything else you guys would like to know? Okay, we got some up here. We're going to take, let's start with one. I may step into two. So it's the spiral. Just a second. Okay. So what is really being drawn out here is the chambers in there. It's almost like your dream state. Maybe some of you have physically, okay, I just saw some of you open a journal. And as you begin to just kind of write out some things, it's going to unearth, and I have to use the word unlayer, some of, I'll say deception, because what happened is when this is going on and you are putting yourself at a disadvantage and a disservice in the injustice, right? Like disenfranchising yourself, and it brought on the guilt, the shame, those other things. they clouded in a sense, and like they shrouded. Because if you notice right here, see those little wedges? They're tucked away and they're like air chambers. And if it weren't sliced in half, if we didn't have a cross section, we wouldn't even know they're there. But they are. So it's almost like when you go within, for some of you it's art, it's journaling, maybe it's a specific activity you do, but it's some personal reflection, maybe even creating some videos like a vlog to yourself where you sit down and you talk to yourself. Like maybe you'll even journal it out and then you'll read it back to yourself out loud and then listen to it and watch it. And I'll tell you, the levels of reflection that come out are even greater than when you read it. I've started doing some that I may share at some point. If I'm doing this for the world, I also am now doing these videos for myself. And I call it check up from the neck up. And I check in every day to kind of see what's going on, because what I deal with is these vast, huge energies. And it's almost like life being a buffet that every day we can all go to and be like, oh, I'd like some of this. I'd like some of that. I'd enjoy this. Oh, so-and-so would like some of that. I'll pack up some and take it to them. It's like life is, okay, it's a smorgasbord. Smorgasbord. Any of you who've seen Charlotte's Web, Templeton, it's that smorgasbord. It's a cornucopia, and life is for the living, and it's in the taking, meaning the going out and bringing in for yourself, the receiving. Okay, so what I see is that the wisdom that's some of the ancient wisdom, the gifts of knowledge that'll be surfacing from those, and it's like a redemptive value. It's almost as if you get double the return on your investment. And I think that's important to your self-worth, and I'm hearing the word psyche. Okay, I'll just leave it there. Y'all are smart. That your spirit can work with that, okay? And then we also have, okay, man, how beautiful. Sorry, I get wrapped in all of these for a moment, but it's the hummingbird. You see it? I love it because the way the wings are, it's caught in midair, but its feet are resting on these watery uprisings from the poppies. Yeah, so that's definitely having to do with your dream state. And let me tell you, Libras, it doesn't have to be induced, okay? That's clearly what I'm hearing, is a lot of y'all have done self-induction of mind-altering things. And that's your own personal life. But what is happening here, that doesn't require it. That almost offsets it in, like, taxes your purchase. I mean, isn't it cool sometimes when you purchase things and it's tax-free? And like when you purchase online from certain areas, or like tax-free day when people are going back to school. So set this aside to be like a pure channel where you're clear. You know, maybe when you wake up in the morning and you haven't imbibed in anything. Because I mean, this is very serious. It's like, come on, y'all. I'm not me. That's what the sun/moon, the harvest moon is doing behind you. It's like, come on, y'all. It's like, because when you're under that altered state, you're making yourself easier to be taken advantage of. And it's not always people, it's these energies. It's almost like, well, they're not really all the way in it, so we don't have to be all the way in it. And it takes longer to get somewhere. And that's, this hummingbird is like, I'm all about it, y'all. Let's get on. And it's like they're caught in a snap of slow motion, but they're thrusting and moving forward. Like if you've ever seen anybody swim butterfly, not everybody can do that. So when you see that person going, it requires so much thrust, so much momentum and coordination to really be able to bring it forward. It's almost like they're asking you, we would really love to have your whole self to bring this forward. If you do, it will move quickly, and that in itself is its own high. That in itself is its own like mind-altering state and its own reward. Okay, so we'll leave it there, but I love that rising up. I love that energy. And it's pulling you up out of the waters, okay, out of those distorted mind frames into something more lucid. Yeah, because you could be prone to tricks and trickery. And so when you mind alter, your mind is altered. That's what they're saying. So I'm just going to leave it there, okay? And that sucker's going right down there. And I do think you want one more. So we're probably not going to dive into these. Woo! We're going to go here. Wow. of course he's going to trump the whole thing. He came out in my checkup from the neck up yesterday. I am in love with this being. It's the Time Master. Can you see him? He is the end-all be-all. This is the end-all be-all coming here. And that, I've got to say for a moment, that is the devotion in my heart when I started the channel Joy to the World. I actually got thrust. I had a little bit of this energy like pumping me on out there, and so I know what it's like to hop on the bus, guys. And it'll be all right. We'll have a good time. It'll be like a Muppet adventure. Lots of fun, totally colorful, definitely mind altering in a way that's completely natural and creates that dynamic of life that you hunger and thirst for. So he is the mountain, he is the stream, he is the sun, he is the moon, he is the ancient and he is the present, he is the creator and he is the observer, he is animal, he is beast, he is feathered friend, he is the bounty of the oceans, he is like fecundity, and the energy of synergy. I love that. It's the energy of the synergy, which is, wow, okay, that's your word, guys. So that balance that you're going for, where I talked about life being able to play that energy in with you, that really brings out that press and that intensity and that desire to provoke in a loving way, like you love to provoke life. That's what he brings. It is the synergy. It is that working of energies together with your balance. It's really being able to groove and move around and feel the energies of life that you stir up, to feel your power and your passion coming together, your worlds coming together. It is OST is what you're created for. Do you see that divine thread wrapped around here? Gosh, I hope this is stirring up in you guys what's stirring up in me. I'm so excited for you. And I'm excited to activate this in the Libra part of my chart as well. But the many layers, it's all there for you. The meeting of the minds. You'll even, I say meet like-minded people. I don't mean like opinions. I don't mean like agreement and agreeable people. I mean someone who meets you face to face and looks you eye to eye. There's that passion and that genuineness that they're trustworthy and true. And that's really, I love it. I love it because we're talking about surface and deep. So it's this and this. Well, okay. That makes sense. Because I kept looking at the scale and they're going deep down. I'm like, how does that make sense? But it is the crossbar where the balance of the scales sit. Wow. Someone who looks you eye to eye and meets you heart to heart. No ulterior motives. That is what all this brings in for you. So I encourage you, go team go. Go you go. Oh my. And just anything that's been standing in your way, whether done by yourself or to yourself, done in ignorance, done by others, we just sweep it away now. We clear it away. And I give you permission to run, to move forward, to fly with the hummingbird, to shorten that timeline, to no longer have to self-induce those mind-altered states in order to try and get closer to the truth that you're seeking. But no, you are the beautiful being, and you have help, and you have secrets that were stowed away behind those illusions of guilt and shame. And I just cast those off of you right now, and I loose them, I pull them off. We're not even cutting them because that would leave stumps on you, and there's no need to have any scars. I want your heart and your soul to feel as beautiful and free as your mind is in this moment. I just tell you, I love you. Fly, my birds, fly free and soar the skies and enjoy life, and check back in with me and let me know how it's going. Share your joy, because the joy to the world is not just mine. Mine is like that little flicker, that ignition of the lighter to just set the world ablaze with joyousness for us all. For all, as my niece would say, all the crayons in the coloring box, all the colors is necessary and vital. I love you. Bye now.